I'm standing in your way. I'm not going to let you get away with it. If you're trying to deny kids a proper in-person education, I'm going to stand in your way, and I'm going to stand up for the kids in Florida. If you're trying to restrict people, impose mandates, if you're trying to ruin their jobs and their livelihoods and their small business, if you are trying to lock people down, I am standing in your way, and I'm standing for the people of Florida. So why don't you do your job? Why don't you get this border secure? And until you do that, I don't want to hear a blip about COVID from you. Thank you.
Hello. Welcome back. Welcome back again. The patience is much appreciated. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Courtesy Call, the podcast where I rant about politics, world affairs, and societal issues. I am your host, Scott Perry, and it is Sunday, August 22nd, 2021, and we are back from another 2-week hiatus. Again, I apologize, but to be fair, I did warn all of you listeners on episode 27 that we would be postponing this episode from last week, the 15th, to this week, the 22nd. So, I do thank you for your patience. Your patience is much appreciated. I want to thank all of those dedicated listeners for standing by and waiting. And I will make it known right now, so it's set for the record, that there will be at least one more episode that would be postponed. That is foreseen on the docket here. But that will not be until the 19th of September. Because I have another big commitment that week and unable to fit production of this episode during that same week. So the 19th of September, that's when we'll move that episode, which I think it's episode could be 30, 32, I think, maybe 31, 32. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll have to move that episode to the following week, which will probably be the 26th. Of September. So that's great. So thank you again. Thank you. And yeah, it's at least a few more weeks before we have to worry about any more postponing. Much appreciated. Now, with that being said, a lot has happened in the last 2 weeks. Oh man, a lot has happened. And when I tell you, when you miss a week, you miss a week. You may actually miss 2 weeks. Because, let's see, what happened in the past 2 weeks that we've missed? A New York governor resigned, okay, and a new one's on deck to become the first female governor of the state of New York. We'll talk about that later. The president's infrastructure bill passes. That was awesome, huh? It's good news. Afghanistan airport has been a bit occupied lately. And a new political dingus to make fun of on this episode. A new political dingus makes himself known and really shares his feelings about how the president expresses COVID and bluntly tells him to stop talking about COVID and start, paying attention to the border. I'm pretty sure you know who I'm referring to, and we'll talk about that dingus later in the episode. But also, within the last 2 weeks, and those who are friends with me on my personal Facebook page and might have saw a post on Courtesy Call's Facebook page, know that last week I was in the big city of New York. I was in New York City and was a guest audience member for The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Yes, I was at the Ed Sullivan Theater last Monday for the taping of his show, and I saw the man himself, the popular comedic national talk show figure known as Stephen Colbert. I saw him about 20 feet right in front of me, and boy, was it a fun experience. Very interesting, but fun. Now, for those who have never attended and witnessed a taping of a talk show or any show out there, it's quite the experience. It really is. It's a big eye-opener. And for those who don't know what the process is, like what happens, when you get there to, the start of the show, and, how do they do things, and, how fake is it? This is a lot of questions that I got from a lot of people since I shared that I was on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And to fill you guys in, let's see. Usually, just wait outside, whatever theater or venue this taping's being held. Okay, you wait for the doors to open. And try to get there early, because the earlier you are, the better your chances of getting good seats. Now, while you're waiting, the staff who work for the show will check you in, check both your ticket and ID, and now your Vax cards, now that it's mandated in some cities, especially New York, since New York's the first. They'll check your Vax cards to make sure you're eligible for admittance. This will take about 10 to 15 minutes past the time the doors were initially scheduled to open. Yes, it does take a while. Then once you get in the doors, there will be a lobby where you will wait even longer to get into your seats, which this could be anywhere from a half hour to an hour. No joke. Yeah, you wait that long. And during that time, you'll be given one opportunity to use the restroom. Before the show even starts. Because once you get into your seats, your opportunity to use the bathroom will be limited, as the show is not a concert or a sporting event. And it is for mainly viewers at home. That's mainly what they're taping for. You're just workers. You're workers who were given free tickets to witness the production of this episode of the show. And, it's mainly for viewers at home. So the producers don't want the show's integrity to be disrupted by people needing to take a tinkle throughout the taping. So from there, you will finally be brought to your seats and wait even longer for the show to start. Yeah, fun indeed. Once the show starts, though, a hype man, or as I call him, a crowd arouser, will go on stage to wake up the audience and give them the lowdown, what to expect, and make them laugh and get ready for them to cheer on cue, to boo on cue, and to just, be all prepped up for when they start the show and get them full of energy before the show. And the host will come on and get the show underway. Now, this all sounds like a process. And trust me, it is. It is quite a process. But it's worth it, as these things are also a good source of entertainment, and they bring a lot of education about the entertainment business to the table. And some of them give you free stuff. I did not receive any free stuff from The Late Show, but, I've been on some tapings where they have, and other shows. So, but yeah, they're fun. And I had fun at The Late Show. I did. It was a good time. It's something I've always wanted to do. I've been a big fan of Stephen Colbert for quite a long time. I watch his shows on a regular basis. And, to finally be there was kind of surreal. It was awesome. So it was fun. I enjoyed being at The Late Show. However, there were some downsides. Oh, yeah. And they were fun. So I went with a friend. And we had a good time. And once my friend and I arrived at the Ed Sullivan Theater last Monday, we saw two lines, one on each side of the entrance, and was deeply confused as to which was for priority and which was for general admission, as there was nothing indicating which line was which, because you get priority tickets and you get general line tickets. Obviously, priority comes in first. They go in first, and we had priority tickets. And, and we didn't want to get mixed up with general admission because we don't want to be with those people. Just kidding. Just kidding. It didn't matter either way. We just wanted to know which line we had to be in. So that was very confusing. And we had the staff at the door. There was nothing indicating at the staff, and the staff had to indicate which one was which, opposed to just having signs. Then we lined up and waited to be checked in. We finally got inside and waited for a grueling hour and 15 minutes before getting to our seats. Just standing there, just waiting, as if they haven't set up the stage at all, as if they just were coming into work themselves and just setting everything up to scratch. I don't know what the purpose of waiting an hour and 15 minutes was, but it was kind of annoying. So yeah, we waited there before even getting into our seats, and yeah, waited 45 minutes just to use the bathroom, which is also kind of uncomfortable because we just got back from a restaurant and had a few drinks there before we arrived at the late show. So yeah, using the bathroom would have been nice within the first 10 minutes, but didn't happen that way. So once we got into our seats, we waited another hour for just the hype monkey to show up and get everybody going. And then finally, the show was on the road. The show was getting on the road as Jon Batiste, for those who watch Late Show, know who he is. And those who are a fan of jazz know who he is. He's a very, very talented jazz musician and a Grammy Award winner. So Jon Batiste and his band Stay Human were introduced and played a small concert for us not long before the man, the myth, and the legend, Mr. Stephen Colbert, came out and got the crowd going before doing a small Q&A session before finally kicking off The Late Show and doing his whole bit that he does. The taping entirely lasted about 2.5 hours, which is not bad for a taping. That's an hour long. For an episode that's an hour long, 2.5 hours is pretty good. That's fast. That's pretty much, kind of doing either fast editing or not giving a damn too much about, small things. I would say that my main argument for, for this whole thing was the guest rotation. Yeah, it was, first off, the main guest for the show was not an actor, not a musician, not even a major well-known politician. No. It was a doctor. Yes, a doctor. Someone you could see any day of the week right down the road from you in any community. Not that you want to, but yes, a doctor by the name of Dr. LaPook, who exactly is he? I mean, I guess he's one of those celebrity doctors, from what I understand. He's a CBS doctor, and when celebrities and talk shows and other entertainment sources want to get news about COVID or other things going on in the world that pertains to medical, he's the guy they go to. So, but essentially, when you narrow it down, just a doctor. It's a doctor that knows a little bit as much as any other doctor out there. But yes, I mean, he may be a celebrity a bit, but still, come on, really? I take it there's, sometimes the booking agents at the Late Show probably don't do as much thinking or much brainstorming when it comes to giving the audience really what they want. Just being honest. The other guest originally scheduled on the show was not even there. And instead, some lousy announcer for the sport of soccer named Roger Bennett, who, as everyone outside the U.S. calls it, football. Look, I get it. As someone who has been involved in the local entertainment business for years, I get it. I understand that sometimes you can't always get the most top-notch celebrity guest to be available at your convenience. But come on. They could have done a much better job. They could have gotten, like a musician coming out with a new record or something like that, or a butthurt politician that's, kind of wants to rant about some things, because we all know there's plenty of them out there, or just bring back Emily Blunt and John Krasinski and have them be cute together like they've been, lately, and people are pretty fond of. Something. I would have taken that over, what was given to us. Over a COVID doctor, essentially, and a very annoying soccer announcer. But, it was The Late Show. And The Late Show is The Late Show, and you're there. I got to see Stephen Colbert, the man himself. I also got to see John Baptiste, and here's his band Stay Human play, which I thought was pretty awesome. And it was a good time. But I mean, The Late Show definitely needs to do some work and needs to make sure they amp up the integrity of the show. That's all I'm really saying. But other than that, again, it was a lot of fun, and I learned a little bit more about the showbiz. So that's what I want to share with you about that. So good times. Good times. So that was what occurred within the last 2 weeks, since we took a little small hiatus. Also happened was that the headlines were hot. They were very hot. A lot of stuff going on in the world today right now. And we'll talk about it in this episode. We'll talk about President Biden's infrastructure bill that passed. We'll also talk about Governor Cuomo's resignation. We will also talk about this whole ordeal happening over in Afghanistan and the Taliban taking over and what's been going on with that. But first, this.
I'm standing in your way. I'm not going to let you get away with it. If you're trying to deny kids a proper in-person education, I'm going to stand in your way, and I'm going to stand up for the kids in Florida. If you're trying to restrict people, impose mandates, if you're trying to ruin their jobs and their livelihoods and their small business, if you are trying to lock people down, I am standing in your way, and I'm standing for the people of Florida. So why don't you do your job? Why don't you get this border secure? And until you do that, I don't want to hear a blip about COVID from you. Thank you.
Oh, boy. This is Florida's governor and new political dingus to poke at, Ron DeSantis. Yes, he's the governor of Florida. The state that has the worst COVID cases in the United States? Yeah, he's the governor of it. I wonder how Florida is becoming the worst state. No question here. There's no wonder. It's right in front of you. The answer is just right in front of your face. So here's the deal. So about like a week and a half, I think it was a week and a half, that the president made an announcement about mask mandates, imposing more COVID restrictions and trying to keep, the country safe and make sure everybody's safe and healthy. Ron DeSantis, I believe, who's a Republican, and part of the crowd or our clan that doesn't care whether you live or die, is pretty much made it clear that he is going to stand in the way of President Biden and his administration from keeping the country safe. I mean, and this is not a shocker. A shocker. DeSantis has been friends with many governors throughout the U.S. and many politicians who are supporting him to look into the border. Because who cares about people's health when you have illegals running through the country, right? Because that's our biggest concern. Because everyone can die in his eyes, as long as the border is just secure, and we spend millions and millions of dollars on a useless structure. Now, I'm going to say he's not the brightest bulb of the whole chandelier. He's not the brightest bulb. Okay? He's not the sharpest tool in the shed. Okay, I find this very troubling, and I think a lot of people who have a reasonable mindset should find this very troubling. It's just, you don't want to hear a blip about COVID. And, you're running a state that really needs help right now. Your state is like completely red. It looks like a blood-covered knife. It's so dark. It just looks morbid if you look at the COVID map. And to even deny the possibility of even addressing any health and safety concerns and just bringing up, your grief against the mandates just makes you a complete dick. It does. Makes you a dick and shows that you're probably not good. You're probably not fit to lead anything. You're probably not fit to lead a book club. Never mind a state. He goes on to argue and said, you're ruining people's work environment. You're ruining people's personal, school experience. You're ruining people's natural lives. And you're ruining the way people do things in this world, and it's ruining our communities. Your mask mandates and COVID, restrictions are ruining our communities. Well, you know what, Mr. DeSantis? You know what's ruining our communities? COVID. You know what ruined our communities even more? Dead people. Having dead bodies all over the state because you're acting like an irresponsible dickhead. That's what's going to cause the issue. That's what's going to ruin communities. You know what's going to ruin the schools? Them having serious health conditions because they weren't vaccinated and they didn't take health and safety precautions. You know what's going to ruin people's work environment? Yeah, COVID. And you're going to get sick, and you're not going to have many staff, and work's going to get overloaded. And I'm betcha, if you take a census of the residents of Florida as to, mask mandates, healthy safety precautions versus very low staff because half your staff has COVID and is too sick to work, I'm pretty sure I know which one they're going to choose. I think it's quite obvious at this point. So how about we stand in your way, Mr. DeSantis? How about you get out of our way and let us run a country and show you how other states are supposed to run. Let the Biden administration show you and educate you on how to keep things safe because they've been doing it long before you even took office. Yeah. And that's all I got to say about that. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I'll talk about this whole ordeal going on in Afghanistan and the Taliban and what's going on with that. So don't go anywhere here on Courtesy Call Podcast.
Come on down to the Hop Knot at 1000 Elm Street, Manchester's premier craft beer and gourmet pretzel bar. Tell us more, Trudy.
We make our dough fresh every day. We make a variety of styles of pretzels and serve craft beer, cocktails, and a few bottles of wine. We do the traditional pretzel, and we have multiple flavors for that. We also do stuffed pretzels, pretzel sandwiches, free dessert pretzels, and pretzel knots.
The Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street.
Subarus are made for winter with symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, so you can help your friend when they break down in the middle of nowhere. Kelley Blue Book's most trusted brand. That's a Subaru.
Morning. Can I have a coffee, please?
We can do better than that. How about an acorn spiced latte?
No, thanks.
What about a nitro charcoal brew with dry ice?
Oh, no.
The charcoal purifies the soul.
Just a regular coffee is fine. Thank you.
Okay, let's talk milks. We got okra milk, we have sloth milk, and then we have fresh unicorn milk. Only $12 extra. Isn't that right, Caliber?
Whoa. I'll just do half and half. And my coffee?
Okay, but first, Fomart. Ta-da!
Okay, you know what? This is ridiculous. I just want a coffee. I'm sorry.
Why does everyone leave us?
Does your plug-in fade too fast? Try new Febreze Fade Defy Plug. It has built-in technology to digitally control how much scent is released to smell first day fresh for 50 days. La 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 la.
This Bud Light Seltzer lemonade is packed with lemonade flavor.
Yeah, it even has more flavor than my grandma's lemonade.
She still lives here, right?
Yeah, it even has more flavor than grandma's lemonade.
Oh, no.
Guess her hearing is better than we thought.
New Bud Light Seltzer Lemonade. Packed with more flavor than Grandma's lemonade.
Every morning, I thought I had to make a choice. Do I use a toothpaste that whitens my teeth or one that's good for my teeth? Now I don't have to choose. My dentist told me about Crest Whitening Therapy, so I tried it.
From Crest 3D White comes Whitening Therapy. It's our best whitening technology. Plus, it has a fortifying formula to protect your enamel.
Now I get a whiter smile and healthy teeth all in one.
The 3D White Collection from Crest. Healthy, beautiful smiles for life.
Oh, just one.
Jake from State Farm, it's the least I can do. You really did me a solid with that, Maya markdown on my insurance.
Here's the deal, Maya. State Farm offers everyone surprisingly great rates.
Right.
No, really, there are no markdowns, just great rates.
Pull her home back in 20 minutes. I'll hook you up with the good parts.
When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Welcome back, everyone, to Courtesy Call Podcast here on IPMNation.com. For those who are just joining us, before the break, I talked about my experience on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert and shared my 2 cents worth about that. Also explained how the process works with being a guest audience member on any show that is taped and whatnot. I've been to many. And, I'd say the Late Show with Stephen Colbert is definitely entertaining. It's done different like other shows are. And, it was a learning experience. It was definitely a learning curve. And if you ever plan on going to a taping of any show, be prepared. Be prepared. So, I also apologize for the hiatus and explain that there will be another postponing of an episode, but will not occur for another 3 or 4 weeks, which will be, I think, September 19th. Looks like will be the day that we'll have to move it from the 19th of September to the 26th. So be prepared for that, all you frequent and dedicated listeners. I much appreciate it. Absolutely. So if you have any questions or comments on anything that's discussed on this episode or previous episode, feel free to reach out on both our Facebook and Twitter accounts, which is facebook.com/courtesycallpodcast, or our Twitter is @CourtesyCall4U. That's the @ symbol, Courtesy Call, the number 4, and uppercase letter U. And just share your 2 cents worth, ask some questions, and I'll look to answer them on next week's episode, which will be episode 29. And it will air on the 29th, which is a week from today. So, here on IPMNation.com. All right, before I get into more headlines, I'm going to do what I usually do, and that is plug local businesses who have been impacted by the pandemic who could use your help. And I do this every episode, and yes, it's the same businesses, but for those who have not listened to previous episodes, will be informed, and this will be new to them. So, without further ado, let's give some businesses a plug. Moe's Italian Sandwiches. Making the original since 1959 locations all over the Granite State, including one in Dover, one in Portsmouth, and one here in Concord, New Hampshire. D Designs. For those looking to get great artwork done for either their website or business logo, feel free to contact Danielle Festa-Keefe at dgraphicsnh.com. That is dgraphicsnh.com. Danielle Festa-Keefe is not only a wonderful graphic art designer, she's also an amazing, talented painter. And you can check out her amazing artwork on her virtual reality art gallery. That's right. During the pandemic, she knew that people would not be able to go out and enjoy, wonderful art galleries out there and enjoy wonderful pieces of paintings out in public. So she designed and created a VR art gallery where you can go onto her website, sign in, log in with your credentials, and go through the necessary process and be able to walk through a virtual reality art gallery and check out her wonderful paintings that she has submitted and uploaded into the software. So it's a wonderful, cool new deal that she's doing, and it's quite neat. And like I said, she's very talented, so it's well worth it. Go check out wonderful artwork by Danielle Festa-Keefe. Again, you can reach out to her at dgraphicsnh.com. Crawl Space Audio. If you are looking to do any audio projects, such as podcasts, or you're a musician looking to record your work, feel free to reach out to Dave Swillem at 603-275-2020. Once again, that's 603-275-2020. The Cake Fairy Bakery, located at 110 Old Londonderry Turnpike Road in Hooksett, New Hampshire. They serve wonderful baked goods such as cupcakes, pies, cannolis, dessert logs. But what they're best known for, in my opinion, is their eclairs. If you love eclairs, you're going to love this place even more. If you think eclairs are okay, well, it's going to change your mind because their eclairs are nice and rich, nice and full. The custard is it's homemade right there, not processed at all. It's a nice, decadent, rich cream that's on top, and it's just every bite is just amazing. So feel free to reach out to the Cake Fairy Bakery, located at 110 Old Londonderry Turnpike Road in Hooksett, New Hampshire. You'll be glad that you did. And speaking of bakeries, Clem's Bakery, located at 29 Indian Rock Road in Windham, New Hampshire. They also serve wonderful baked goods such as cupcakes, pies, cakes, cannolis, baked novelties, and eclairs. But what they're best known for, in my opinion, is their donuts. And if you love donuts, you're going to love this place. They serve all the traditional kinds, anywhere from old-fashioned to glazed, to chocolate glaze, to jelly, and all these wonderful different types of frosted cake rings. But in my opinion, their best type of donuts is their yeast shells. They're vanilla and chocolate cream-filled donuts. They're not too rich. They're nice and perfect, well-balanced cream that's pretty much what exactly you would picture a perfect cream-filled donut being. And the donut itself is nice and soft as they make them fresh every day and make so many for everybody to enjoy each and every morning. And there's usually a line out the door every day. So get there early and get as many as you can. Again, that is Clem's Bakery. That is KLEMMS Bakery, located at 29 Indian Rock Road in Windham, New Hampshire. So, all right. So let's get into our next headline. So this past week, very shocking news came about in Afghanistan as U.S. troops were pulled out of Afghanistan, or most of them. And after, I think it was over billions or millions of dollars being spent for troops to enforce safety, to take over and make sure that, you know, that country's run well and that they are, you know, sufficient and safe, the Taliban takes over. You know, the Taliban, those charming group of people, the charming group, you know, that has taken such great care of people in the past. We're so nice in the past that we just, you know, hand them whatever they need and whatever weapons they need, and they go over and take over the country. They're known for abusing their citizens. Are known for imposing violence, or for inflicting violence, and for, you know, making sure that wars are broken out throughout the country. They're very violent and not very good people. And now citizens are in a panic. Citizens of Afghanistan, residents of Afghanistan, are looking to get out, and they fear for their safety. Airports were flooded to the point where airports had to shut down. Security had to prevent people from going into airports, and the National Guard, or the guards for, you know, Afghanistan, had to fight back. And the U.S. troops that are still over there are going through quite a massacre right now, quite a nightmare to try to keep things under control. As some, you know, and as some people have said, Biden had said last Friday that we are going to do everything that we can to provide safe evacuation from our Afghan allies, partners, and Afghans who might be targeted because of their association with the United States. Pretty much the Taliban is threatening those who associate themselves with the United States that they'll shoot them, or they'll put them in prison, or torture them, or do some very, very, very dark things to them if they associate themselves with the United States, as we did take over like 20-something years ago, and you know, they're quite butthurt about it, I would say is safe to say. The U.S. military has about, and this is according to USA Today, one of the articles and sources that I'm using for this. USA Today, you can go on there, you can Google them, and you can check out all these sources. But it says on this article that was, I believe that was published on August 21st, which was yesterday, on 9:26 a.m. It says the U.S. military has about 6,000 troops on ground, with the 82nd Airborne providing runway security at the Kabul airport. The Army 10th Mountain Division standing guard at the airport, and the 24th Marine Expeditionary Unit assisting the civilian departure. Biden said that 169 Americans got over the airport wall Thursday with military help. Despite chaos at the airport, flights paused for a few hours Friday to ensure officials could process evacuees. And again, this is coming from our wonderful president. The U.S. has evacuated 13,000 since the airlift began on August 14th, including 5,700 on Thursday. So there's some news on that. And it says the Democratic chairman of the House Armed Forces Committee has joined calls to investigate what went wrong and the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Pretty much, I'm saying I think it's premature. It sounds like it was a premature process. As you know, the mission, it was to bring troops home, trying to bring troops home quickly and as sufficient as possible, but looks like we did it a little too quickly, and now we gave the Taliban access to take over, or some room and some field to take over Afghanistan again and to continue to do harm. The plan to evacuate civilians was woefully inadequate. No kidding. Representative Adam Smith, Democrat of Washington, said in a statement last Friday, in the coming months, we need to examine why it has happened this way and make sure it never happens again. Smith also said that the intelligence relied on to guide the evacuation must be scrutinized to determine whether it provided any clarity regarding how swiftly the Taliban would move in and what the United States response should have looked like. President Biden said the intelligence committee expected the Taliban to take over the country, but vastly underestimated how quickly the Afghan government and security forces would give up. As you know, the Afghan government just fled. They saw the rush of violence coming through that they anticipated, and they just left. They didn't fight back as much. They didn't get much of a push. They just gave them the land. They had them take it over. And this is very disappointing. This is very sad. I send the best wishes to those in Afghanistan who are dealing with this. I hope that they are able to overcome it. I'm hoping that they're able to get out of there quickly. I'm hoping that the United States can assist more and help out with the process in a much safe manner and try to get things under control. Because, yeah, initially we had no business being there. Okay. But since we've been there for a good, 20-something years, I think it just makes sense that at this point, it's our responsibility. Once you take over something or have any impact onto something, that is your responsibility. Once you change something or get your hands into something, it's now your business. So this is now, whether you like it or not, this is our business. And we have, soldiers and U.S. clientele and personnel over in the U.S. Embassy. And I know the Taliban's looking to take that over. There's no doubt. They're looking to take that over and inflict some violence and some chaos over there. So it's our business entirely. And we need to get troops over there now. More troops. So whoever's been evacuated, I'm sorry. It really, really sucks. But we need you to come back and go back to Afghanistan and get things under control and then restart it and then get the transition underway in a more smoother manner. So this does not happen. I believe that's what needs to be done. The troops need to come back just to get things under control again, and then they need to do things the right way. When they get pulled out, they need to do it the right way this time. So send our thoughts and prayers to those over in Afghanistan. So hope things work out and do well. So, all right. So now I'm going to talk about, speaking of our wonderful president, President Biden, and good news, the past, I think it was like a week and a half ago, Biden's infrastructure bill finally passed. Yeah. It finally passed. We were talking about it for weeks and weeks, several episodes, and now it has finally happened. President Biden's infrastructure bill has been passed, and now we could get the roads and schools, road workers and schools funded. And we can finally get this country in good shape, looking like they can get this country looking good, as there's definitely a lot of work that needs to be done. So a week from last Tuesday, the Senate gave an overwhelming bipartisan approval on Tuesday to a $1 trillion infrastructure bill to rebuild the nation's deteriorating roads and bridges and fund new climate resilience on broadband initiatives and delivering a key component of President Biden's agenda. And this is off from the New York Times. I do like the Times. I enjoy the Times. I trust their sources, and this is one of the sources I'm using for this segment. The vote was 69-30 and was uncommonly bipartisan. The yes votes included Senator Mitch McConnell, surprisingly, of Kentucky, the Republican leader, and 18 others from his party who shrugged off increasingly shrill efforts by former president, the former guy, as he tried to derail it when he was in office. This historic investment in infrastructure is what I believe the American people want, what you've been asking for a long time, Mr. Biden said, President Biden said, from the White House, as he thanked Republicans for showing a lot of courage, as he says. Mitch McConnell, who publicly declared that his priority was stopping the Biden agenda, said in a statement that he was proud to support that historic bill and the bipartisan infrastructure deal and prove that both sides of political aisles can still come together around common sense solutions. Which, yes, it's common sense. I mean, you need, if you're looking out for this country and this country's, welfare, then you need to be able to agree on a bill that helps build the country to a much healthier direction. An infrastructure bill should be a no-brainer. It would make no sense to stall an infrastructure bill. I understand if it's too much, if the funding's too much, if it's too much, to spend. But I mean, either way, you're gonna have to make sure roads are still in good condition. You're still gonna have to make sure schools are funded. Still make sure that the community's funded. And if you have none of those, it's not gonna really how much you spend, because you're not gonna have nothing, because there's gonna be nothing moving smoothly, and you need stuff to run smoothly to be able to keep a good economy. And that's how you keep infrastructure bills, and how you keep spending, how you keep the funding coming so you can keep spending on necessary things. So this is a no-brainer bill, in my opinion. This was definitely a no-brainer bill to sign off on. The measure faces a potentially rocky and time-consuming path in the House, where Speaker Nancy Pelosi and a majority of the nearly 100-member Progressive Caucus have said they will not vote on it unless and until the Senate passes a separate, even more ambitious $3.5 trillion social policy bill this fall. That could put the infrastructure bill on hold for weeks, if not months. Well, I mean, you can put it on hold if you want. And I understand that, yes, there needs to be more money that needs to be spent because, like I said, this country needs a lot of help, infrastructure-wise, and other things, other deals need to be taken care of. But I want to put things on hold. It looks like a lot of construction companies and a lot of workers have already, jumped onto the opportunity and have already started, jumped on the responsibility of, getting the infrastructure underway. I don't know about you, but during your commutes, have you not seen more construction underway? More road work happening now? Schools getting more funding now? Talking about schools getting more funding and more meetings being done about it? I've already seen the first tier of the effects of passing the infrastructure bill taking place already. So if it's not fully into effect, maybe these people are jumping the gun. I think it's a smart move because we already know that the infrastructure bill passed. We already know it's in effect. We already know the funding's going to get there. The funding is there. So you might as well get the work done early and already get started than waiting, because we don't want to wait to get potholes covered or to get bridges repaired and, to get things, funded and possibly and potentially having to suffer longer and cause some serious, accidents because things are not maintained well. So because we're underfunded. So I think this is a great bill. I've been talking about it for, tons of episodes now. And I think it's pretty obvious that I'm in full support of this infrastructure bill, and this is a great deal. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Now, things that are not so good, back to something a little more depressing. So New York. I was in the state of New York and New York City this past week. And speaking of New York, we're going to talk about, the resignation of Governor Andrew Cuomo, who resigned over an abundance of sexual harassment claims. And it kind of sounds like he didn't really own up to it. Kind of went on and on and on and on about, I'm sorry, this is who I am, this is what I've been doing for years. I didn't mean to sexually harass anybody. This is just, you have to accept that this is just what I've been doing. So kind of apologizing, but not really apologizing. So for those who might be left in the dark, so here's the deal. So Governor Andrew Cuomo, for the past several months, maybe almost a year, has been, these sexual harassment claims being brought up, where he has inappropriately touched women and has done some very, very bothering gestures towards women in the past. And they're all coming forward now. And he can't take the heat, so he's getting out of the kitchen, as they say. So this is on Associated Press's website. This article is from the Associated Press, and it was published on the 10th. And it's probably not the best source to use, to be honest. Let's find. I thought I had a better resigns. Yeah, resigns. Okay. Yeah, I got that. So we're looking at. We're not looking at August 10th. No, we're not. We're gonna look at. We're not gonna look at that. So yeah. So he pretty much announced that he is resigning because he has. He has faced so many allegations, and he's going through so much allegations. It's becoming very heated, and he just he says enough's enough. He gave himself a 2-week notice, and taking his place will be none other than Kathy Hochul, who will become the first female governor of the state of New York. She's looking for a lieutenant governor in New York City as well, and she is, she's looking to really get the job done. She has asked Cuomo staff employees to please stay on, to please continue to work for the state of New York and the city of New York City, and work with her. As she has a new agenda she wants to take over, and some new things that she wants to bring into the state to hopefully reinforce laws of sexual harassment and to make sure stuff like this does not happen again, and to continue to serve the welfare of the state of New York. So congratulations, Kathy Hochul. I hope you take over, and I hope things work out in your favor. And to Governor Cuomo and all the other politicians out there, or people out there that think that sexual harassment is okay, it is not. However, I want to defend Governor Cuomo for a short period of time. I want to add my 2 cents worth. Okay. Now, what he said in his speech, okay, it's not like he didn't apologize much at all, and I get that he didn't. But he did say, in part of his speech, in part of his closing speech, there was some part of it that makes sense. Okay. Cuomo is Mexican, okay? He's European, of some European descent, okay? Spanish, Mexican, okay? Cuomo, come And I know just from past experiences working with those who are Mexican, Spanish or Mexican, and other European type descent or Latin American descent, they're very passionate people. They're very affectionate people. It's like with Italians, right? You ever work with Italians? They're very hands-on people. They don't mean anything sexual by it. It's just how they are. It's just, they like to show active endearment, okay? And he's right about that. In his speech, he's right that is an act of endearment from a lot of Latin Americans and Europeans. Not as an excuse to grope a woman's behind or breasts or, to grope any part of their body. But I just know from experience doing business with those of European descent, straight from, Europe, they're very hands-on kind of people and very affectionate people. And I see nothing wrong with that because that's how the United States has been for years. There's nothing wrong with affection. There's nothing wrong with intimacy. There's got to be obviously lines drawn. But I think overall, people saying you should go to jail for just, kissing someone on the cheek or making a big deal of kissing someone on the cheek. I know plenty of people that kiss people on the cheek. I know men that kiss other men on cheeks, but they're not gay. They're not homosexual. It's just how they are. It is not in sexual intent. It's just intent to be endearing. So that's my defense on that. But hopefully this new governor does a good job. And I commend Governor Cuomo for resigning, and taking the right step. So. Okay, now it is time for me to go into the latest updates on COVID-19 and the vaccinations. So these numbers are pulled from yesterday, which was August 21st, 2021. And are as follows. So here we go. The total number of cases here in the United States are 37,657,643 total cases here in the U.S. With sadly and very unfortunate 627,631 total deaths. Very sad and very unfortunate. Around the world, worldwide, you're looking at 211 million cases. 33,017 total cases. That's 211,033,017 total cases worldwide, throughout the world. It was sadly and very unfortunate. A total of 4,417,958 total deaths. Very sad, very unfortunate. Here in the Granite State, in the state of New Hampshire, you're looking at a total of 104,571 total cases here in the Granite State, with sadly and very unfortunate, 1,397 total deaths. Very sad and very unfortunate. The numbers are going to go up. I know that's been a big talk. The numbers are rising. They're going to continue to rise, and they're going to continue to rise. As I've stated in many episodes before, in previous episodes, and I'll state it again clearly, the vaccine does not cure COVID. I repeat, the vaccine does not cure COVID-19. It never was meant to. It was just created and developed and manufactured and brought out to suppress the symptoms if you were to contract the virus. Meaning that you would suffer, at most, low to moderate symptoms, at the very most, if you're fully vaccinated. If not, you can suffer severe symptoms, very severe symptoms, the whole effect of it. So that's what the purpose of the vaccine is. It does not cure COVID. Okay? It just suppresses the symptoms, and makes it so if you were to contract it, you would suffer low to moderate symptoms at the very most. So keep you safe, very safe. So with that being said, the CDC has made it clear that if you are fully vaccinated, those who are fully vaccinated can participate in social events and social gatherings like concerts, sporting events, and other social events, that you are able and could safely participate in those activities, in those events. So knowing that there's people who are fully vaccinated, who still can get the virus, who are allowed to go out, and the CDC told them they can go out and congregate, they can go be part of concerts and sporting events and other social events, then you should know that people are going to catch COVID. Everybody's going to get COVID. To make it simple for you, everybody's going to get it. It's whether you're going to be safe or not. If you want to be safe or not. And if you want to be, you got to get the vaccine. You have to get fully vaccinated. That's the point of it. So the numbers going up is not a big concern. It's about how many of those people who caught it are vaccinated, who are fully vaccinated. That's the number you should worry about. That's what you should be worried about. Not the number rising, but how many of those people are fully vaccinated. So, now, speaking of the vaccines, okay, here we go. The total number of people who have been vaccinated in the United States, the total number of doses administered here in the United States is 360,634,287 total doses given, with 169,998,983 people who have been fully vaccinated in the United States. Worldwide, we're looking at 4,910,059,376 total doses have been administered here around the world. So, yeah, with a total of 1,893,336,388 people who have been fully vaccinated around the world, worldwide. Again, that's 4,910,059,376 total doses given around the world, worldwide, with a total of 1,893,336,388 total people around the world have been fully vaccinated. Here in the state of New Hampshire, you're looking at a total of 1,705,059 total doses have been administered here in the Granite State, with a total of 803,959 people who have been fully vaccinated, which makes a percent of 59.1%. So we're almost at 60 here in the Granite State. We're almost at 60%. Now, worldwide, sadly, only 24.3%, which could be a lot more people getting fully vaccinated. Still need to get the vaccine. People should be getting vaccinated. It's so essential. Despite all the stories and nonsense that you've heard and all this conspiracy BSs that you've heard around, the media. But yes, U.S., it looks like we're at 51.6%. I'm getting agitated because I think by now we should have had it at 70%. 70%, because we have the same number, around almost the same number of total doses administered versus fully people vaccinated ratio. Yeah, over 360 million have been administered in the United States. And a little over 160 million, or about over 169 million of those people have been fully vaccinated. So there's still over 100 million people out there who have not been fully vaccinated. And they're waiting. And it's been this way for months now. And it's like, what are you waiting for? And it already tells me right now that it's not making any sense. There's a lot of people out there not making any sense. Right off the bat, right off the get-go. Because, definitely. Because there's, you get the first dose. You might as well get the second. You already got the same thing. They're just giving you another dose of what you just got. And, I know a majority of the people who, who've gotten the shot that I've ran into have said that they've only experienced like very low, moderate, effects from the vaccine. They felt a little nauseous and their stomach hurt for a little bit, and I got a small headache, or I was tired. That was about it. But I know a lot of people that didn't get any side effects or any effects from it. They felt fine. They felt maybe a sore arm and a slight headache, and that was it. Or maybe like, slight chills. Their fever, their temperature in their body rose just a little bit, not much. I mean, it was just very minor. So there's nothing really like major going to go on if you get your second dose. And this makes sense that if you're going to get your first dose, you might as well just get your second dose, because now the second dose is actually safer. And you say, yeah, it's the most harsh, but it's actually the safest because you already got the first dose, so now your immune system knows what they need to destroy. And your immune system is good. If you didn't get anything major happening to you after the first dose, the second dose is fine. And it's because now those cells and your immune system has to kill off that virus or the second dose. What's in the second dose? It's a blueprint. And now there's a lot of rumors going around, has been rumors for the longest time, for quite some time now, for quite a bit now, is that, the vaccine has COVID in it. They give you COVID. They do not give you COVID. It's a blueprint. They give you like a mRNA, which is like a blueprint drawing of what the virus is. And your immune system recognizes it. And now when the virus enters it and the second dose enters it, well, that's not the virus, the blueprint enters it, it can now get in the routine, a process of destroying that. And now your body recognizes what this is. So if you do actually get the actual virus, your immune system will react in a snap of a finger. So get fully vaccinated. It makes sense. Don't listen to the conspiracy theories and all the BS that you hear, because it just doesn't make any sense. Makes zero sense. Get fully vaccinated. So, all right, we're going to take another quick commercial break. When we come back, it'll be the headhunt segment and the societal topics of my choice. So don't go anywhere. Still more to come here on Courtesy Call.
Come on down to the Hop Knot at 1000 Elm Street, Manchester's premier craft beer and gourmet pretzel bar. Tell us more, Trudy.
We make our dough fresh every day. We make a variety of styles of pretzels and serve craft beer, cocktails, and a few bottles of wine. We do the traditional pretzel, and we have multiple flavors for that. We also do stuffed pretzels, pretzel sandwiches, free dessert pretzels, and pretzel knots.
The Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street.
Oh my, with Chase Freedom Unlimited, I earn all this cash back? Oh, I gotta tell everyone. Hey, Rita, you can earn 3% on dining, including takeout.
Bon appetit.
Hey, Kim, you earn 5% on travel purchase through Chase.
Way ahead of you.
Hey, Neil, you can earn 3% at drugstores.
Buddy, I'm right here. Why are you yelling?
Because that's what I do. You're always earning with 5% cash back on travel purchase through Chase. 3% at drugstores, 3% on dining, including takeout, and 1.5% on everything else you buy. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Tasha, did you know Geico could save you hundreds on car insurance and a whole lot more? So what are you waiting for? Hip-hop group tag team to help you plan dessert?
Fresh vanilla, rocky road, chocolate, peanut butter cookie dough. Scoop this, scoop this, scoop this, scoop this, scoop shakalaka, 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 shaka, scoop shakalaka, shakalaka, shakalaka.
Geico. Switch today and see all the ways you could save.
Building a better bank starts with looking at something old and saying, really? So Capital One is building something completely new. Capital One Cafes. Inviting places with people here to help you, not sell you. And savings and checking accounts with no fees or minimums, because that's how it should be. You can open one from right here or anywhere in 5 minutes. Seriously, 5 minutes. This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
The greatest stories don't have to end.
If we do this, we're gonna do it our own way.
They can expand, evolve, connect each generation to the next. The stories continue. Only on Disney Plus.
Welcome back to Courtesy Call Podcast here on IPMNation.com. For those who are just joining us before the break, I went into a bunch of things, actually. I talked about first of all, the invasion or the whole overtaking of Afghanistan from the Taliban, and shared my thoughts on that and what was going on with that, and read an article that was posted about it. Also went into President Biden's infrastructure plan and my thoughts about that and the details of that. And also Governor Cuomo's resignation, who soon no longer will be governor of New York. And instead, taking in his place, looks like that it will be a woman who has been governor for quite some time, and will become the first female governor of the state of New York. So, good stuff, good stuff. If you have any questions or comments on anything that has been discussed on this episode or previous episodes, feel free to reach out on both our Facebook and Twitter pages, which is, for our Facebook, it's facebook.com/Courtesy Call Podcast. And for our Twitter, it is @Courtesy Call for you. That's the @ symbol, Courtesy Call, the number 4, and an uppercase letter U. And just let me know your thoughts and your feelings about everything. If you have any questions, post them on there, and we'll discuss them on next episode, which will be episode 29, which will be available for download a week from today, August 29th, at 10 a.m. here on IPMNation.com. So, okay. So now, for those who've listened to previous episodes before, know what's coming next. This is a part where I go into picking people apart, kind of, where I go into speaking my mind, I guess you could say, in a more direct way. And this would be none other than my Headhunt segment. For those who have not listened to previous episodes and don't know what the Headhunt segment is, this is where I go on social media outlets like Facebook and look up other sources on there, other pages like CNN, MSNBC, local news station WMUR News 9, and I see what people have posted on there, or see the comments that were left under some of these articles, and questions that I felt were not answered appropriately, and I add my 2 cents worth. So without further ado, this first one's off from CNN's Facebook page. Yep, the major news network known as CNN. And this was posted yesterday, late morning, almost early afternoon. And it has to do with actually the overtaking of Afghanistan, the whole issue over in Afghanistan. And it says on the article, was their sacrifice all in vain? No way. CNN's Michael Smerconish, something like that, says about the U.S. military members who served in Afghanistan. What a miscarriage it would be if any of them thought for a moment that we're now witnessing is a reflection of their service. It is not. So, because whether it's in vain, did these troops and military members serve over in Afghanistan for nothing? Was it all for nothing, pretty much? And was it just a big slap in the face and an insult because the security has let up over there enough for the Taliban to take over? So that's pretty much what he's stating right there. And a person by the name of a man by the name of Alex commented underneath that Afghanistan is not our problem. We gave them 20 years of military support and trillions of dollars. They squandered it. Things are bad here. We need to worry about what's happening here. If Afghans want a better life, they'll have to fight for it themselves now. Something they've never been particularly interested in doing. Now, usually I go with either I agree or disagree with these things. I'm going to partially agree and partially disagree with this comment. I'm going to go half and half. I think it's the first time that I've done it like this. And this is because I agree with part of it, and I disagree with part of it. Simple as that. So yeah. So the part that I agree with is that the Afghans, those in Afghanistan, those resident citizens of Afghanistan, have not learned how to fight properly. Or have had interest to fight. They've had a lot of fear to fight what they want and to take over their own community and their own country. They have backed down every single time there's a threat. They've always been very submissive. They're not a very dominant kind of crowd out there. So you have someone like the Taliban, which, we could kick around. We can kick the Taliban around like a tin can, like a soccer ball in the World Cup. We could toss around the Taliban any day of the week. But, because we're a dominant country, we're supposed to be at least. But the residents of Afghanistan, those Afghanistan citizens, the Afghans we can call them, I guess, they have no fight. They're very submissive. Any group, even a group as small as the Taliban trying to push them, they will do what they say. They'll kick them. They'll leave, or they'll continue to abide to what their demands are. They don't really have fight in them. So I believe that the Afghans need to learn how to fight, need to learn to take what's theirs and learn to take it over. That's what we did as America in civil wars. That's what we did in a lot of the wars that we faced. It's about time that other countries do the same so they can, build themselves a little stronger and take care of their own problems. I agree. But on the other hand, like I said, earlier in the episode, it is our problem. And that's the part I disagree with. It is our problem. Because we were there for about 20 years, okay? And we did a lot of changing there. And we moved a lot of things around. And we got our hands dirty. We took on a hands-on approach over there. And doing that, that becomes yours now. That is now yours. If I go into, a construction site and start messing around with some stuff, and then I walk away and say, that's not my problem anymore. I'm sorry I screwed them things up. It's not my problem now. It kind of is my problem. Because I shouldn't have been there in the first place and touched anything. Once you take something as your own responsibility, like we have done for 20 plus years, and we leave it the way we left it, and we don't perform a good transition, and we go about it in a premature way, then that is our problem. We should be helping, the Afghans. And we should be going back there. Sadly enough, I agree. I think we should go back into Afghanistan. Get it back to being under control again. But when we pull out, make sure we do it safely. And make sure we do it smoothly this time because, we don't want to, we don't want this to happen. This is, I felt like that we're just neglecting it. I feel like at this point, we have just neglected it. And now this problem that's happening right now is a chunk of it is our fault. So that's part I disagree. So, sorry if you guys disagree, but that's just my opinion. And that's what I believe is the right way to go about it. Some of the best decisions are not the most subtle or not the most agreed upon, but they're the best decisions that we've got. So, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So let's see. Now, this next one is off from MSNBC's Facebook page, which is another major news network. The one that I trust. The one I trust that gives factual information and nothing weird and untruthful and false and garbage. Anyway, so this next one has to do with the former guy. Yeah, the former guy's doing and bidding. It says there's a big chunk of the population which has no interest in listening to President Biden or the CDC or public health experts. They only want to hear from one man, their Messiah, their beloved and former guy, the former guy. That's what this guy, Mahdi Hassan, says as MSNBC. And there's a meme on there that says, a disgruntled ex-guy actively undermines vaccination push. Of course he did. We knew this a long time ago. He underestimated the distribution of it and the effects of it and everything about it. So that's why we don't listen to the former guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about, along with his colleagues like Jim Jordan. And now we got this call him a dingus. I should call him wrong. DeSantis. DeSantis also backing this up as well and being anti-COVID, anti-safety, anti-health expert, anti-health protocols in general. And this was posted yesterday late morning, and there is a comment by a woman by the name of Jen who says, yet he was vaccinated before a big part of the population. Though he probably welcomed the shot, he just has to save face for his supporters. I am so over the rhetoric that he still has Fox News and the like preaching about anti-vaccines, anti-mask, misinforming and misguiding so many people who should listen and base their information from medical professionals, researchers, and scientists who dedicated their lives to this very thing. Can't believe we are still arguing masks during a pandemic. And Jen, I 100% agree with your comment. A lot of people are arguing with experts. People actually know what they're talking about. And those people who do that are just downright stupid. And it's because this country, I hate to cause such a newsflash, but this country is full of idiots. Are you shocked? Are you woken up again, now? Is this just now information coming about? People are idiots in this country. There's a lot of them, and they're growing and they're producing, and they're not being educated. It's one thing if you were just misinformed, you're lacking some education, but you're being ambitious to better yourselves and get an education. But it's another thing to lack a lot of education and intelligent substance and not have much cognitive, let's just say, ability or high score of cognitiveness. Let's just call it that. And then not wanting to better yourself and just arguing with experts. That makes it double, triple the amount of stupid. To not even take information from people who know what they're talking about. It's actually scary. It seems like there's almost nothing that you can do to convince these morons, what the right thing to do is. Because they listen to other morons who write up Disney fairy tales about COVID, these nonsense, fictitious BS into the media, and get these people to believe in such things. So that way they continue to, hawk this malarkey, as our current president would say, and not listen to CDC's guidelines and continue to spread the virus and cause, this mass, transformation or, contraction of the virus. And that's why it's spreading so easily. Nobody gives a damn. Also, like I said earlier, people are able to participate in social events. But it's not so much as those who are fully vaccinated that we're worried about. It's ones that just won't get the vaccine to stay safe. So, I'm still in all for, do what you want to do. If you want to get the virus and you want to suffer severe symptoms, then go for it. Don't want to get yourself fully vaccinated? That is your problem. I think that that's what we need to do. Because we're all going to get COVID. We're all going to get the virus. We just all need to be safe when we get it. That means being fully vaccinated. If nobody wants to get fully vaccinated and want to suffer the severe symptoms from it, then go about it. Then do it. Go ahead. That should be their problem. That's what I'm saying. That's what I believe should be done. And you might think it's a stupid way of going about it, but I'm sorry, but as more people suffer severe symptoms and they realize that being fully vaccinated is a must, then maybe they'll wake up a little bit and realize that maybe they should wake up and smell the roses and stop doing this stupid stuff of turning down vaccinations and downplaying it and, refusing to get one, to be fully vaccinated. So that's my comment. That is my comment, and thank you, Jen, for commenting on their Facebook page, and yeah, good stuff. All right, so this next article is from WMUR News 9. Facebook page. And for those who do not know who WMUR News 9 is, for those who live here in the Granite State of New Hampshire, it's our main local news network. And yesterday they posted, speaking of COVID-19, they posted an article yesterday morning asking the article says, what should you do if you get a breakthrough case of COVID-19? And it says on top, if you're vaccinated but test positive, should you isolate? What kinds of symptoms should you look at? Here are the answers to your questions about COVID-19 breakthrough cases, and they have an article on it. And it's the same thing as a CDC and other medical experts have been saying for quite some time now. And it's it's nothing new. It's really nothing new. And a man by the name of Alex commented underneath, the answer is go to the doctor. Not hard. I agree. What about the thousands of Americans the president abandoned to die in Afghanistan? Any update on that? Well, we just gave the update on that, and I think they're still talking about that. If you go on CNN, MSNBC, and major news networks, they're giving updates on that as we speak right now. So go ahead and do that. But yes, go to the doctor. Not hard. You can go to the doctor. But I think, I gave the answer as well. You want to take care of yourself. You want to hydrate properly. You want to be able to eat the right foods. Be on a very clear liquid diet for like 3 to 5 days. Yes, and if you're not feeling well, just like if you got the flu or any other sickness, don't go out in public. Take care of yourself first for like 3 to 5 days. And then if you're feeling up to it, go mingle again. If you're hanging around people who have not been fully vaccinated, I just don't think it matters at this point, because it's not like your vaccine cured it. It's just, just don't. I would say either way, just don't mingle with that person that's not vaccinated. Don't deliberately and purposely transmit the virus to them. I would say that would be the right call. To sum it all up, take good care of yourself 3 to 5 days, and then go back out if you're feeling better and feeling up for it, and then you do it if you're feeling healthy again and better. And don't hang around people who are not fully vaccinated. So yeah. So that wraps up our headhunt segment. Again, any questions or comments, feel free to hit us up on our Facebook and Twitter account, which is facebook.com/Courtesy Call Podcast, and our Twitter, which is @CourtesyCall4U. That's the @ Courtesy Call, the number 4, and an uppercase letter U. So, before I get into the 2 societal topics of my choice, I just want to hope everybody is having a good weekend. Just want to wish everybody, well, not wish, but I hope everybody's having a good weekend, or what's left of it. I hope that people are staying safe here in the Granite State and in the Northeast. As of, I think in a little bit later on tonight, we're going to be experiencing a very strong tropical storm that is said to potentially turn into at least a Category 1, or could turn into a Category 1 hurricane at the most. So we're looking like a mix between a strong tropical storm or a Category 1 hurricane late tonight into tomorrow morning. So if you live here in the Northeast, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, even Massachusetts, hope you're staying safe. Hope you got plenty of flashlights, candles, food, blankets, water, and staying inside, because it's going to be pretty brutal out there. So, also, I hope everybody had a good week last week. As you know, I was in New York City. I was, like I said, I talked about it earlier, being on the, being a guest audience on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And, but that's not all I did. It's not all my friend and I did. We also, like I said before in a previous episode, we went to see the Red Sox and Yankees play at Yankee Stadium. I visited the new Yankee Stadium, which is a very sizable stadium. It's large. It's quite huge. And it's very nice. It's got a lot of bells and whistles to it for a ballpark. And it's got legendary components to it as well still. The old field is just right across the street, right at the small ball field. And this is what I think is pretty cool about that, is that the old stadium where all the legends played and such, it's now a youth baseball field, used for the youth baseball programs. So all these, kids can play on a field where all the legends once played, That's pretty cool, huh? I think that's awesome. So yeah, anyway, good experience over in New York City. We also hit up a couple bars that were pretty nice. As you know, you can't beat NYC nightlife. However, the New York City nightlife right now is kind of bleak. The nightlife is kind of almost non-existent ever since the whole pandemic started. Bars are not as open they're not open as late as they used to be. They used to be open until 2, 3, or 4 in the morning. Whereas now they close at 11 a.m. and some close at midnight at the very latest, which is very sad. T stations and bus stations close around the same time. Their last routes, the last run is usually around 11. So you got that to deal with. But yeah, New York City, but still was a lot of fun. Red Sox, Yankees, loved it. Went to a few other places, enjoyed ourselves, and then went on a nice boat tour on a boat called the Majestic Princess, which gave us a cruise around the Hudson. That was pretty awesome. And then we left New York around early Wednesday morning and ended up going into the town or small city of Worcester, Massachusetts, to go see the Worcester Red Sox take on the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders, which are AAA affiliates of the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. They lost. The Woo Sox lost. That's their nickname, the Woo Sox. Lost pretty bad. And then after that, we went and enjoyed a couple of bars in Worcester. And here's the interesting thing. The city of Worcester has they don't hardly have a curfew. A lot of bars close at 2 a.m. Whereas New York, it's 11 a.m. So essentially, Worcester, Massachusetts has a better nightlife than New York City right now. But anyway, I just thought I would share that. So yeah. So anyway, I hope everybody's enjoying their week and staying safe. I know I'm going to be home, pretty much not doing much traveling. I think my lady has, she plays rec softball, so she's going to have a game later on today. But I think the rest of today and into tomorrow and Tuesday, we're just going to stay very local and home and not really go anywhere. So stay safe. Hurricane Henry's on his way. All right, so here are the last two topics of the episode. Here are the two societal topics. This first societal topic, I think, is major. If you want to hang around with friends, we talk about social gatherings, right? We talk about events, concerts, sporting events, and social events. This one is a good thing to talk about if you want to mingle around people or just hang around people at all and not have people avoid you. I'm talking about hygiene. An issue I feel that is gone wrong with society today. Good hygiene and bathing your kids. And if you're an adult, bathe and take a shower. Reason why I'm bringing this up, and I feel it's a topic that needs to be discussed, on this week's episode, is because, well, I just came back from New York City, and you could take a guess. I ran into a lot of people who just smelled like they just weren't bathing. You could smell a lot of body odor. You could smell a lot of other substance. Maybe they're whatever they came back from work with. I don't know. All I know is that after I'm done with work, I like to go home and take a shower. I shower twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, depending what I'm doing that day. I always try to make sure that I have some deodorant, a really good scented deodorant, some antiperspirant, and I also carry cologne and body spray. So I like to smell pretty good when I head into work or go do other functions and ordeals that I need to partake in. So yeah, good hygiene. Take care of yourself, shower, and bathe. It's part of being an adult. It's part of being a human being and not being disgusting. If you're a parent and you have children, please wash your children. Don't wait for the stench to get strong before you need to wash them. Don't let it linger like that. That's just disgusting. It's gross. It's not, have to do with, that's that's evolution's way or science's way of saying that you need to bathe your kids. No, it's a way of saying kids don't need to be disgusting. You might not be able to smell stench on them the first couple of days, but they're still producing like very disgusting like skin conditions from not bathing. You know, you can get really bad skin conditions if you don't bathe or shower. You know, even if it's only for a couple of days, still. If you keep that consistent, keep a consistent base of that, it's gonna be gross. I watched an episode of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert actually last week, or that was about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago, where he discussed there were some celebrities that admit that they don't let their kids bathe, or they don't believe in bathing their kids or washing their kids unless they smell. Kristen Bell's one of them, and Mila Kunis is one of them. Just let it linger. And again, that's gross. So please take care of your kids, bathe your kids, wash your kids, and don't be a bad parent. So that's what I got to say about that. So that's the end of my first topic. Now the second would be being considerate of time. Time budgeting. I think I talked to us about this before, but it needs to be brought up again because it's such a big issue. I know that a lot of people I run into these days are late for their commitments. They're late for work. They're late for a meeting. They're late with even hanging out with their friends because they don't budget their time properly. Make sure that when you have an itinerary, when you go on trips, like when I go on trips, like when I went to New York City, I had an itinerary for my friend and I that we had to follow. Okay. And it's to make sure that you can do everything you want to do, but make sure you get to the other commitments on time and still have fun and not have to rush all the time. That's what the purpose of a time budget is. It seems like not many people have that. They just show up whenever they feel they need to. And it makes things complicated when you don't, stick to an itinerary or stick to the plans. Sometimes plans get messed up. They do. Some plans don't happen, that well, or get canceled because of, maybe there was an accident somewhere, or maybe they can't. The host canceled the event for whatever reason, or maybe that restaurant has closed, or maybe the other commitments just moved on to something or moved to a different time or location. So sometimes things like happen. Some things happen that's a little beyond your control that you can't help, but you still need to do your part and do your due diligence and make sure you stay timely. Because by you being timely, if something does get moved or postponed or canceled or whatever, whatnot, you still will have enough time buffed over where you can plan something else in that time block and be able to still have fun. So if you don't believe in, doing in a time budget and just winging it, I guess that's fun as well. But I mean, when you get back home and your trip's over, don't feel any dissonance. Don't look at yourself and be like, oh, I feel bad I didn't get to do this. Maybe I should have done this. Maybe I should have done that. I could have done this. I really want to do this, and I didn't get a chance to do it. Well, that's all on you. That is your fault because you didn't budget. You didn't follow the plan. You didn't follow the itinerary. You didn't stick to the time frame. So stay disciplined to that. And, you notice that things are better. Now, with NYC New York City, you can plan as the best to your ability. I don't believe in even just, never mind, a few days. I mean, with a week, months, or even a couple, 2 or 3 years, you could be able to do everything in New York City. I talked to someone who has been to New York City, I think like almost 20, 30 years, still hasn't done everything. So yeah, I think like 2 or 3 years, you still won't be able to do everything. Never mind 2 or 3 days. But I mean, if you want the top 4 or 5 things you really, really want to do to make sure you do experience them and get them done and do them and get there for them and do it or not. I mean, you got to stick to a time schedule. You have to be strict to sticking to an itinerary and a time frame schedule and be right on top of it. So that's my gripe, and that's my second topic. And that, my friends, that's it. We have reached the end of the episode. We're at the end. I want to thank IPMNation.com's president and CEO, Matt Connarton, for giving us a spot. And, of course, all of you listeners for tuning in. Be sure to tune in to episode 29, where I will discuss more developments on Governor Cuomo and the transition to a new governor. More developments on this chaos in Afghanistan. Probably more dingus moments from Ron DeSantis. And, of course, more updates on COVID-19, the vaccinations, and 2 more topics, societal topics of my choice. That is episode 29, which will be available for download 1 week from today, which will be Sunday, August 29th, 2021, on IPMNation.com at 10 a.m. So also feel free to check out Matt Connarton's Matt Connarton Unleashed weekdays at 4 p.m. on 95.3 WMNH and right here on IPMNation.com. All right. On behalf of Courtesy Call Podcast, I am your host, Scott Perry. Be kind, be mindful, and do your part. Stay safe. Thank you. Bye-bye.